It has PCC output has various possibilities of output. Here you see a part of a calculation, of a T calculation, which is selected here. We can export this typical detail calculation or all of them at the same time, print them. There are various output possibilities. I would like to highlight this particular one, the XML export. If there is anything wrong with the calculation, or you have a question, or there is something else you want to share with us, a customer which is using the PCC software can export from the database all the data in XML format, email this XML file to us. We can import the file and see exactly what our customer has done and where the problems has their causes. The software is in such designed that there will be a possibility of a very quick selection of data. For example, here you see that there are more components selected at the same time. If you change the selection for all of these components, in this case the schedule here, it is a standard schedule, will be set for all these components at the same time. If we review detail calculation, this is a detail calculation window which we will see later on in the demonstration of the software. If there is any error in the calculation because a wall thickness is not big enough, then the software will give in color warnings, and also at the bottom will give you some explanation of something which is wrong. With regard to help and support, within the software there is an extensive help file, help function available, which gives you for each window exactly what the different fields are and what can be changed, or what the functions are of the various buttons and fields within the software. The software also gives code-related items, meaning that if there is something specific for the B31.3 or for the EN 13480, then there is a help documentation file there available. Of course, we have a help desk which the user can use to contact us by phone or by email or by Skype, which is free of charge. The user can select from the database the components. This means that the user does not have to enter all the detailed dimensions of the components. There are many standards in the standard database with components, as well as American, DIN, EN, and many more components. You can select the type you want to use, and then you further select the schedule and other items as necessary. Also, the material database. This window shows the overall material database, where you can have filters and look up possibilities to see the various materials. Double clicking such a material, you will get more details and all the properties as are available within the standard. Also, the user can enter custom materials. For example, if there is a proprietary material which is not listed within the standard, or we are missing, or the user is missing a material, the material can be entered by the user by themselves and used within the program. The easiest way is to copy a material which is almost the same and change all the data to have your custom material. To further help the user making quick selection for the pipe class and making the calculations, there are various default settings. We will see that later on, where you have the pressure temperature ratings, and here we have a window showing the component settings. For example, for the T, usually within the American standards, the thickness here, which is necessary in the calculation of a T in the crotch, is not given. So in the specification, when purchasing a T, you need to give some information about the thickness. Usually you give a crotch factor indicating that the thickness here is the average between this and this thickness times a factor, as shown here in the formula. This will help the user and the program will take action to calculate a thickness here and use it in the calculation. This value can be changed. The same here for the radius for the T. Also, the radius is necessary for the calculation. You will understand that if the radius is bigger, you have more volume here, more pressure here, than if the radius is smaller, then this area will be more inside the T. So this can be set by the user. Also, the default materials and dimensions, which we will see later on, can be selected. The pipe classes are organized in so-called projects. A project is, for example, a project you do for a customer. If you have a project for ExxonMobil, you will enter all your pipe classes within that particular project. If you have for another customer a project, you will have all the pipe classes within that particular project. We will see later on. Here you can enter the project number, the description, a customer name, and select the basic calculation code. Also, you will see here some colors, which I will explain later on and show you later on. These will give an indication what percentage of the maximum allowable pressure you are using of that particular component. If a component is not thick enough and the pressure is too high, it will become red. If it is within the yellow range or in the blue range, it means that it is in between here or in between that percentage of the maximum allowable pressure. If there is no color, then it means that you are below 30% and your component is probably too strong and probably also too expensive. Within a project, you can have various pipe classes, as many as you want. There is no limitation to the amount of pipe classes you enter. Here you have the edit box giving information about the pipe class number, the process service, any line sizes you want to use, your engineer's name, revision, and so on.